Well, this is Charlene and Charlene's Kitchen. I'm going to use up all those leftovers from those egg sandwiches, all that sausage and all that wonderful asparagus and the stewed tomatoes, and let's make soup. Sauteing some potatoes, about 3 small potatoes and 2 carrots, in some of that fat that was left from the Jimmy Dean sausage. I'm going to make some soup. That's how I always, whatever I have left over, I make wonderful soup. And there's my Jimmy Dean sausage because we only had the 2 sandwiches, my husband and I, so I've got quite a bit left. And the stewed tomatoes that I uh, blended, got in my blender so that they were all chopped up kind of fine. And then I cut up some onions, about a half an onion and 2 sticks of celery. So, whatever you have. And when those potatoes are done or, a little tender, I'm going to put them in a pot with some chicken broth and have soup. Now I added the chopped onions and celery, okay? And you're probably wondering, well, there wasn't that much fat, but whatever there was, I used it. I didn't add any extra butter or bacon fat or anything like that. See at the bottom there? See how it looks? Okay, so then what I did is I added a little water. And so those potatoes get cooked up. So you see how that looks here now? And just add a little water because I don't want to add any more fat. If that was enough from whatever came from that sausage, okay? So you're wondering, well, then wouldn't it start burning? Yes, it would. So you add a little bit of water. And so we're going to get this kind of sauteed down so they're a little bit more tender. And then we're going to add our chicken broth and the rest of our sausage and the stewed tomatoes. And I'm even going to cut up that asparagus. It's going to be so good. So now, if you can just check this out, these potatoes and carrots are getting really nice. And what also would happen is all that wonderful flavors that from that sausage that were all around the bottom of this pan, it's all used up. It's wonderful. I took that asparagus that I had left over, put it in my little blender. I'm going to put that in there too. And it's going to thicken up the soup with wonderful asparagus. And that's how we do it. So whatever vegetables, if you don't have them, then just don't bother with it. But this is just something that I had when I made those eggs. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of this into this pot, into my soup pot. All those potatoes and the vegetables and what have you. I'm going to add a little water to this pan so that I can swoop up whatever's left in here. Okay, because it's all good. And those are the flavors in the bottom of the pan. So now we're going to add, here's the sausage, right? And the stewed tomatoes in the pot. In the soup pot. All right, there's that. There we are. I'm going to now take this, pour it into this little pot because I've got all kinds of stuff left over here. There you are. There we are. And now I'm going to just swoop up the rest of this that's around the stewed tomatoes here. And that's heating up a little bit. And I'm going to just swoosh that in there too. Into the soup pot. There we are. And now I'm going to put a whole container of, let's see, how many ounces is this here? The chicken broth, 32 ounces. Okay, so I'm going to add that now. That's going to be my broth. Because, I'm not, normally I don't use chicken broth. Because if I'm making a soup from chicken legs or chicken thighs, or then I don't use the chicken broth. But this is just a leftover kind of thing, and I'm going to bring that to a simmer and let that simmer and get its flavor. I got a little bit left of the stewed tomatoes in this can that I rinsed out. That's what I do. Okay, and then we're going to bring this to a simmer, and let it simmer for, let's say, maybe 20 minutes, and then we'll taste it and see if it needs any alteration. Well, good morning to you. And I just want to wish you a blessed and healthy, prosperous new year. And you know that soup that we made last night, I added a little spinach, fresh spinach, and some parsley that I had, chopped up real fine, fresh parsley, and it turned out to be so wonderful. This little soup, and I started out with the egg thing, and then I had all that left over. I had the sausage left over, so I'm calling this the Italian sausage soup. Mm. This is a keeper. It is so good. And I cooked up a little rice too. And I added the rice to this soup and the fresh spinach and the parsley, outside of what you saw that I threw all together. When you have different leftovers, they make sometimes just the best soups. And everything I had was already cooked. It was just a matter of putting it together. Outside of the fact that I sauteed some onions and celery and the potatoes to add some bulk to this. And look at this. It's divine. Mm. Mm. What a treat. God bless all. Have a wonderful new year. And I hope you try my recipe.